the Trevor Jackson Podcast.
Let's move along in the conversation. You know, this hip hop artist I'm about to talk about, Kool D. He's a legend. Wild Wild West. He got a lot of hit records. He's one of the pioneers from New York City. I think he's from Manhattan or Harlem somewhere, one of those places. But I know he's from the city of New York. Kool D. And we're gonna talk about drug dealers in this segment and the dealing of pharmaceutical um, medicine, street sales, hustlers, and all of that. And I want to play this clip because I want to get into Trump saying that drug dealers should receive the death penalty. But Kool D has something very interesting to say that I think people need to listen to. And I want to know y'all perspective on this topic in the comment section.
And the generation of a generational thought process, because I said for me, the first sellout in the hood is the drug dealer, and people don't look at it that way. And because
Expound on that.
the first sellout is a drug dealer because I'm just trying to feed my family is not an answer for you to be able to kill my family. You can't kill my family because you're trying to feed your family. So you're the first sellout, and we co-sign that and be cool. It's like he's just trying to eat. He's not just trying to eat. He's killing your family while he's trying to eat. You're creating a climate that makes black on black the worst thing on the planet. You're killing black people trying to make a living. And the oppressor is absolutely loving that. And I said they love a drug dealer. Your colonizer loves a drug dealer because you're killing your people to feed yourself.
You know, I heard something interesting he said in that. He said black on black is the worst thing on the planet. My boy Star at the Star Report, he released a show uh midweek last week where he was talking about is black on black crime a myth or is it a reality? And that was a very compelling question because it had me stumped for a minute. Black on black crime, because in my mind I was thinking black doesn't exist. Um, I was thinking, why would he say it's a myth when we know it's a reality? But why is he saying this and where is he going? Then the caller started calling in, he started giving his point of view. People started saying different things. And I think they came to the conclusion that it's a reality. But him saying that drug dealers is the first sellout in the community, I really want to know y'all thoughts on this in the comment section, because to me, I say no. I don't know what it was like up in New York City serving to each other or whatever though, but from the South, being from the South, you ain't forcing it upon nobody. 90% of the time, you ain't selling to people in your community. You ain't selling to Aunt Fifi and Uncle John. You ain't selling to them because they ain't got no money. They want to wake up or they want something to be able to bring you the money throughout the day. Uh, and it's a choice. You know, sometimes we don't hold people accountable for the things that they choose. That's when it comes to being a victim. You know, in the streets, I'm gonna say this loud and clear, and I hope y'all understand this because this is the perspective I had to come to when I ended my run in the streets when I was a young boy. In the streets, you got to hold yourself accountable for all your actions. You can't say that the drug dealer is killing your family members because he's serving the drugs. It's their choice to use it. So they got to be held responsible for their actions because they're not being forced to buy. Now, when the drug dealer gets snitched on, robbed, caught, uh, other bad things can happen throughout his run. He got to hold himself accountable because he wasn't, he didn't have to sell the drugs in the first place. Didn't nobody tell him to do it. He chose to do it. So now that you choose to do something, you got to hold yourself accountable for your actions. It's your fault. It's the junkie fault and it's the hustler fault. But at the end of the day, I really don't like that he's calling hustlers a name by a name, calling them sellouts like a derogatory name. I don't think that they're sellouts. I think that they're doing what they need to do and all that they know to do to be able to get themselves where they want to go. You know, I only want to say it on this thing though. But if it wasn't for the streets, and if it wasn't for the hustle in the streets, I may still be in the streets. Real talk. The streets got me out the streets. That's all I want to say to that. But I wanted to play that before this because when I heard Trump make this statement recently in the news, it made me kind of correlate those two things together.
If you notice that every country that has the death penalty has no drug problem, they execute drug dealers. And when you think about it, it's very humane because every drug dealer on average, they say, kills at least 500 people, not to mention the damage they do to so many others, but they kill large numbers of people. China, Singapore, actually there are quite a few, many in Asia where they have the death penalty. There's no drug problem whatsoever. They come to our country because we have a much softer policy. We give them a slap on the wrist and say kill a lot of people. So we are going to, I don't know if our country is ready for it. I am ready for it. The death penalty if you deal drugs, you have to set out guidelines like fairly large numbers, etc. But you'll have it go down very greatly.
The Jackson Podcast.
Saying earlier in the show about how Trump now was winning in the eyes of the public. We only want you to get the finances together. Now you're talking about executing drug dealers. I think that he's speaking irrationally because drug dealers don't kill more people than CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid. Y'all got this stuff right there for people to get as long as they got a prescription or whatever. People getting Percocets and this and that and getting all types of medicines. What's going to happen to them? Are they going to get the death penalty? Or what was he speaking about specifically? Was he speaking about like people coming across the border getting the death penalty, not just the little street hustlers that's hustling to make $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 so they can pay the bills for the month and get something to eat? Because the death penalty is a little harsh for drug dealers. You're going to be killing a lot of people, and I'm not with that. I'm not for that. I don't stand by that, and I think that the Trump administration and people that's participating in it has been saying some wild things lately, and they need to get their thing. They need to get their stuff back under control before they lose their favorability amongst the American people. Because like giving a death penalty to a drug dealer was crazy. Now, to me, even giving death penalty to a drug runner that's coming from another country is crazy. Because the only thing that you should do is send them back to their country. Tighten up your border, send them back to their country. Don't give them a life sentence, 100 years, or the penalty, or nothing like that. It's just that I ain't with that. I ain't for that, and that don't sound right. And I also ain't with what the disrespect that Kumo D had to say about drug dealers, also calling them sellouts. And I'm not standing for the drug dealer because a lot of people that hustle or whatever, they hustle out of necessity. Now, if you ain't hustling out of necessity, you don't need to be hustling, period. And that's the end of that. That's all I got to say about that.
The Jackson Podcast.